Hi, how's it going, and welcome to my channel. So I'm going to do an update on this Holden Colorado. Sort of halfway through it now. So I've removed the guard on it, the fender, yeah, we'll get into it, and I'll show you what I've done, and I'll tell you what I plan to be doing with it anyway. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is the beast here with the bumper missing and the fender. So I've got it in bits really. So I'll turn this gimbal round and then we can have a look at it. Let's get that round there. Okay, so and then if you've seen the last video, you'll sort of see where I was with it. I was gonna sell it just as is, but then somebody called me and a few people got in touch, but no one bought it. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna fix it up. So I went and got a fender for it off a white one of these, and I got it from the wreckers. It was about $330, and then I noticed there was also a piece missing off here. You can see that it's on the other side. It's like in the UK we used to call this the scuttle panel. I'm not too sure what it's called in Australia, but it's just the lower windscreen panel. But that was missing. I got one of those for $20. This was the piece that I'd got off them for $20, so it wasn't too bad. So I'll fit that sort of towards the end. But I got the fender, and then I took the old one off, and then I basically took the old fender and the second-hand white fender to a paint and panel shop and just say, paint that, this colour. So they've got, and I give them the paint code as well, which I think is GV6 or something like that, something around that. But it's called Orange Rock. It's a Holden Orange Rock. So they also did like an Orange Crush as well, which is a darker orange, which is more like a reddy. So, but we can see there's no damage anywhere. Apart, this had pulled, this part of the fender had pulled out, so it hadn't even damaged this. All that's straight. There was no damage underneath here. All that's pretty straight. Yeah, so you can see I took the bolt out of the headlight here, the top headlight, and it's sort of, yeah, it's not even like out of alignment or anything like that. So none of this was damaged. Now this here, the only thing was here was this section here, which holds the front of the guard on. That was like sort of, this was bent around there, and this was bent as well. So I just pulled them all straight, and the good thing was when I took the bumper off, I could actually see on the other side, which is not damaged, what position these brackets were meant to be in. So I could see that comes to the front of it. There is a plastic clip that goes onto this headlight, which is basically broke off on this side, which is there, but it's fixed in 3 places, the headlight. So it's fixed here, here, and here. And when that bolts in, that headlight's solid. It's not going anywhere. So I know that'll pass. These wires here are for the fog light switch. I'm going to sort of update that in a minute. It will basically talk about what I'm going to do with that in a minute. But it's basically ready now for that fender to go on. As soon as I get it back from the paint shop, I'm just going to fit it straight on. I'm going to put it on, and then I can sort of like align these then. If I need to pull them straight or heat them up and pull them across a bit more and get everything straight, just so the fender's on. And once I know that's in line with the headlight and the bonnet, and it's bolted in, it basically bolts in here behind the door, down the bottom, and then in here and on top here, and I put that plastic thing on, and that's all done. Then it's just basically just a matter of putting the front bumper back on, and it's when you take the front bumper off, you don't need to take the side guards off or anything. So, and the bumper was pretty much easy to get, pretty easy. There's 3 bolts underneath, and then there was just a load of little bolts along the top here, and then obviously there was where they bolt inside. I'm trying to think where it bolted inside. The only thing that holds the bumper to the fender is basically it clips in here. That's all it does, and I just prized it out with like a little plastic like trim tool, and it come out all right. So now there is a scratch on this side, which was always there. So, but you can see by a means of this, and if you've done body work or vehicles before, you can see what I mean by this little plastic. Yeah, this little plastic thing just pops in, just like this, just clips in, and that's all it sort of keeps it in, really. So, but then they bolt along the bottom. Now the fog light was smashed on the fog lights actually go onto the bumper. Now this is the bumper here. We'll talk about that now. It's the fog light on this side was fine, nothing wrong with it, and the surround, the chrome surround, the bezel was fine. But on this side, the fog light was smashed, and the surround, the bezel or whatever, bezel or whatever it's called, was gone, was missing. And it was like $300 for a pair of bezels. I couldn't find one on its own. None of the wreckers had any. Fog light's probably around about $80 used. But what I thought, you know what, I got some blanks for like black blanks, which I'll put up on the screen now. And I think they were around about $50, I think, including the shipping for the pair of them, or $40 or $45, something. I was pretty cheap. So I'm just going to put blanks and just delete the fog lights. Not really too bothered about them. Later on, I may be able to get a fog light and then just put the other one back in, maybe at a later date. But it's not important at the moment, and it'll pass the pits with blanked fog lights, because the cab chassis ones of these, the lowest model, didn't have any fog lights. They had these blanks that go in, so that'll be fine for now. It'll just pass. So yeah, you can see the scratches on there, which it's just one of those things. I might even get like a touch-up for that in the same colour. I don't know. And there's a bit of scratches on that there, but this will pass. And then basically I sort of fixed this up. I got the buffer on it, hand buffer, and you can see that I got a lot of the scratches out. The crack is still there, and then there's a crack down there. But I sprayed up. I got like a spray can made up. Let me have a look where it is. There it is. I went to a place and took the paint code. This Variety Paints and More. They're pretty good. I've used them quite a lot. They're like in Wangara in WA here, and you can see that the colours on the lid. But yeah, it goes on all right, and then you just got the clear and to go over it. I did a little bit on it. I could have filled it and everything, but it was just like a rush job. But you know what? That'll pass. This will pass the pits because it's not structural. There's no sharp edges to cut anyone. I'm just going to show you how I repaired this. You probably can't. The light's not very good in here, so. But I've got this like little plastic welder, and it has these pins. I think I got it from Temu or Alibaba or eBay or something like that. And it just heats up these pins, and it just welds the plastic, and they stay in, and then you just cut. You cut the pin. You can see I've left 2 pins on there, which I'll have to cut off. But like there's the other. It keeps it together. I was trying to get a bumper in WA, and everywhere these wreckers yards, they must have some kind of computer system that has a list of parts that the other wreckers have got, like for certain vehicles. Because when I got in touch with a few, it was like he was looking at a computer and he goes, "Oh no, there's not one in WA." I was like, "Oh, that's a bit of a pain." So, and I thought, if I get one of these from over east, it was like they wanted hundreds, like 700, 800 plus a few hundred shipping. It's going to be over 1,000, and I thought, there's nothing actually wrong with this bumper apart from them cracks. And once that's on, it'll pass. That'll pass. That will now. So now on the rear wheel arch, and I know there's probably panel beaters out there probably cringing now, but this was quite dented in, especially here. And I'm not a panel beater. I don't claim to be or anything like that. But I just wanted to knock it out so it didn't look as bad, just so it would pass the pits, because it wouldn't have. I don't think it would pass with a big massive dent in it. So I just knocked it. I took the liner off and just hammered it out from the other side. And then I got some of that spray paint and sprayed it on each side, and then did the clear and then buffed it. And you know what, it just looks like it looks like a work ute. But I've actually cleaned it up. I've actually polished all the chrome. Well, these are aluminium, I think. I got the buffer, and I polished the bars, the sports bars on it. Now there's loads of dints in the back. Little dints here. The bit of polish there still in places. There's a bit of paint peeling there. The lacquer, I mean, not the paint. But it's not bad. Oh, and I took the side steps off as well. That's another thing, because the step on that driver's side, because it obviously hit something on that side. This is the step that was on it, and you can see that it's all broken, and that won't pass the pits because that could catch someone's legs and cut the legs. So, and I couldn't find a step anywhere. I did ask around for that, so I decided to take the 2 steps off. It actually looks higher. I go down. It looks well without the steps on. I don't know if that back will settle down. It looks pretty high. When I've measured with the tape, the height, when it's in the garage on the flat, of course, the height of that from the floor to here, and I think it's 37.5. And then when this is on the level here, this is 34.5, or round about that. So there's a 3-inch difference between the, I don't know why the back is higher. I don't know if it's, I think that's what they have, that stance, because obviously it allows for weight to be put in the back. I'm thinking of keeping this and running it for a bit. I don't know if it drives well and it gets around and it's got a bit of power and everything. I might just sell my other ute. I might just sell my Mercedes ute there, because I'm not really the Mercedes ute's nice, but I don't know, I don't seem to be that impressed with it. It seems a bit slow, but I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. But what I might do, you can get, I'm going to put them up on the screen now. You can get like a lift kit for these, which looks pretty simple to use. They basically, it's like a little spacer that goes inside there. And then on top of the upper control arm with the ball joint, you get like a spacer on there. So, and it says it gives it 2-inch lift. So that will make the wheel arch pretty much the same height as the rear one. So, and I got this ute. When I drove it off when the guy drove it off the truck up onto the driveway, the wheel was like just all wobbly and it went all over the place, and it just sort of like sat in, and it was like on a right angle, and I thought, oh no, there's like going to be really like damaged. Anyway, I took the wheel off and I checked everything, and I thought the suspension strut was going to be bent, but it wasn't. And all that was wrong was this, I don't know if you can see this upper control arm. This is a replacement one I put on. So this, and I've got the original one here. So that's the original one. And it snapped there, which is worrying really. Now obviously what it's done, when it's had its incident, whatever it's hit, because there was black marks on the tyre here somewhere. Like the tyre had like, whatever it rubbed on here, it was like black tyre marks on the wheel. So it's obviously hit this wheel that hard that it snapped that control arm. But it's good because that's where it's took. It didn't damage anywhere else. So I looked everywhere else. The sway bar is not damaged. The lower control arm's not damaged. The steering arm is not damaged in any way. The lower control arm and the drive shaft's not damaged, but I think that's why they've written it off, because that was damaged. And when it comes to, because of the body, the panel, you know, obviously if you went to the insurance company, went to whoever's going to be dealing with bodywork now, to some like top end body shop, they'd replace this with a new pattern part or a new genuine part. They'd replace the fender, they'd replace the door, they'd obviously say that the tub needs replacing because it had that damage on it, and they'd replace this arm, this control arm or upper wishbone. That's why they've written it off, because that would be way over the value of the vehicle. So, especially the prices they charge for these body places. So, like I said, this control arm, this one I got in there is $130 used, and I've got the receipt for it from the wreckage yard. Because whenever you're buying used parts for these, like repairable write-offs, if you put them over the pit, whenever you're buying used parts, you must get like a receipt from the person you bought it off, or the wreckers, and it must have the VIN number of the vehicle it come off. I think they've done it, the law with that, and is because probably people were stealing cars and taking the parts off them to fix other ones. So now you've got, so that way you've got proof. So when it goes to the pits, they'll want to see before pictures, before the damage that was on it, pictures in between, so any of the process, and receipts for the original purchase from the auction, receipts for any parts you've bought, even if it's new or used. Receipt has to, obviously a used parts has to have the VIN number on it, and then yeah, any like, you know, receipts for paint and everything like that, and then you've got to do a stat deck as well. So so that's pretty much it. So I'll wait for that part to come. I'll fix it back up. The next video I'll do on it is when it's past the pits. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll like I said, I'll do another update once I've got the fender on and I've got the bumper back on, and I've got it over the pits and I've got the registration plates on it, and I'll just go through basically the process. It's once it passes once it goes through its WOVR pit, which is the WOVR, and sometimes they call it WOVE. Once it goes through that, they'll do an inspection on the damage that was repaired or anything like that, and basically they just want to make sure that it's right, nothing's going to fall off and nothing's dangerous and no chassis bent on it and things like that. And then once they're happy with that, they'll pass that, and that'll be its WOVR inspection pass. And then I'll have to take it to the Department of Transport pits, which is like another place I go to. A lot of these, like normal car mechanical garages, do it. And then they'll do like a full inspection on it then. So it could still fail on that because it could have like oil leaks or like blowing exhaust or brakes or something like that. So lights not working or shock absorbers that, you know, spongy or things like that. So it could be anything, but hopefully it will. It seems to be pretty clean and dry under there. So and then yeah, once I get that pass certificate as well, basically just go to the Department of Transport and apply for a new rego for it and get new plates, so put them on. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll keep you updated when it's all done. So thanks a lot. See ya.